Riot defends Faker. Ninjas in Pyjamas recruit someone while they had someone else on their team, and a Dota team has been banned. This is the Leaderboard. I am Meg Turney, and as always, Jared Wynne from the Daily Dot has joined me. Hello, Jared.
Those things sound pretty bad.
They do. We have a lot to talk about this week.
I guess we should talk about them.
Let's start with this whole SpectateFaker restream, not restream business.
Yeah, which Riot called restreaming, to be clear.
Let's just say.
Yeah, let's just say that.
There's a lot of hate in the comments.
Riot called it that.
So we're going to use Riot's words.
Riot has said a lot of things that were incorrect here, obviously. They also said that this guy was being stalked, that Faker, a world-class, famous League of Legends player getting paid a lot of money, well, relative to what he's doing, getting paid some good money to do this, having an exclusive deal with Azubu, a streaming platform, he's getting stalked because someone is streaming his games. A little bit strong in the language there, I think. A little bit over the top. And in the big Riot statement they had, that's why we're talking about this, because Riot gave a big statement on what happened. They admitted to having some over-the-top language, but didn't apologize to the guy. I mean, the guy running the SpectateFaker stream, you accuse him of stalking somebody online, you accuse him of this shit, and then you kind of skirt around it. I don't know, it just seemed kind of like a hollow apology to me. And the statement itself, like, they didn't specifically say, we're going to issue a DMCA, but they did say, we're going to take down the stream. That's our goal here, that's our objective. And they obfuscated the reasoning as to why. They said, well, the guy is having harm done to him because he's having his, you know, his brand is being hurt by this. He has signed an exclusive deal with Azubu, and they're going to do this thing. But then they try to come back around and say, well, it's more about harming an individual. Like, how would you feel, or how would someone feel if they were being streamed against their very will? Like, if someone was forcing you to be streamed. But that's a little bit different than saying, okay, this guy has a business arrangement with Azubu,
right,
and now his games are showing up on Twitch. That's I don't know. The way they put it was really strange, and it's purposefully a strange thing. They wanted to leave themselves a lot of room so they can take things case by case by case by case. And I think it's silly. It's silly, Meg. It's
you don't
a silly
agree
statement.
with it?
I don't entirely agree with it, and I don't agree with their approach to it, because again, they really launched kind of a personal attack on this guy, on the guy running the stream. And they stepped it back after looking at the facts, which they probably should have done before they made any sort of statement. Yeah, because again, this is a guy, Mark Merrill, who runs a pretty big company, from what I've heard. Riot being pretty big, he has a big platform, on which to speak. So when you accuse someone of stalking somebody else online, that's pretty serious, right?
Yeah.
So you should know what you're talking about before you go and do that. So I don't know. They walk it back a little bit in their statement, but they do make it clear they're going to try to take down the stream. And I think the reasoning again for it is kind of blurred. Like, Kespa probably is a bigger interest here than protecting a person from the harm that's being done to them by having some of their games streamed online, which, by the way, you can watch through Riot's in-game client itself, the League of Legends client, so it's a fuzzy situation, is what it is.
But on the upside, it does protect people or professional gamers who make these kind of elusive, very profitable deals with streaming networks or streaming companies to stream exclusively on their platform. It kind of protects that. We were worried that if Riot said, well, they can put it wherever they want, that streaming platforms wouldn't make such exclusive deals with people anymore.
Yeah, you got to maintain those e-bucks.
Right.
I do. I understand that, and I think it's worthwhile to protect that and to allow a player to make money outside of just playing the game. Well, he's still playing the game to make money, but to have deals like this in place, it's just that Riot's reasoning for this is, again, obfuscated. They're talking about harm being done to a player, and they're talking about, you know, you could say harm, okay, financially, that could be harm, but they're talking about a person being streamed against their will again, which brings us back to the example I said last week, where what if a person said, okay, harm is being done to me emotionally by being streamed, so if I come on someone else's stream, like a famous player like Doublelift, if he's streaming and I'm on it, and I'm supporting him, and he's talking shit about me being a bad support, I'm going to want his stream taken down whenever I'm on the game, because I don't want that. It's doing harm to me. I need to opt out of being streamed. That's a little bit silly, I think.
Yeah.
Right? It's silly, but that's kind of what you could get from this. Now, they may say that's not what we mean at all, but the point is that they're being very broad with this to allow themselves the room to take things case by case and not have any precedent they have to honor in the future. So it's skirting around things. Their approach from start to finish was not ideal. I understand wanting to protect the player's business interest, but the way they went about it, the way they talked about it, I don't think was super first class.
All right, I think we've covered that pretty well. Sure, you're all going to argue that in the comments.
You're going to argyle that in the comments.
Just make little diamonds with little do-do-do-do. Okay, so let's talk about Ninjas in Pyjamas next, because basically what happened is that Mikelele was on Ninjas in Pyjamas, and then they decided they were going to announce that they were looking for a fifth while he was still on the team, and it just seemed very weird, and now they have picked their fifth. Allu.
Yeah, and it's still kind of weird because they're not picking him permanently. They're saying, okay, you're gonna come on our team. It's a very like high school cliquey thing to do, right?
It's so weird. It's like it's an audition in a competition, and also
that rhymes.
An audition in a competition, and it's an all-rap episode of the Leaderboard. No, but who would want to join this team knowing that they could be replaced while they're still on the team?
They're still very good. They're still capable of winning tournaments, so it's understandable players being willing to go there. It's just that it doesn't make sense for the team. Like, why would you want a player to feel the pressure that they might get cut in a month or so if you don't win the next big major? Because that seems to be the precedent. I mean, Jalli came in, they made 2 big finals, a DreamHack Winter and an X Games Invitational. Those are big tournaments. They made the final there, and it wasn't good enough. So what is the standard here? And he played well. What does Allu have to do to make the team? Apparently, you have to win the major. Anything short of that is not good enough. That's a huge amount of pressure to put on a player just to make the team he's on. You are harming your own chances to play well, your own chances to win the tournament you care so much about by doing this. It makes no sense at all. I really don't understand it. Unless there's some like contract stuff going on here with Jalli where they can't say that Allu is maybe the new replacement for him, and maybe they have to have Jalli kind of hanging around. They can't just fire him because of his contract status. I don't know. That would be some explanation, but whatever the case is, it's a managerial problem here that's caused this, I would think. I don't think the players want it to be this way. I hope not, because again, there's just no point to doing it this way. It only hurts you. It only brings harm to you when you hurt your own chemistry. You put an unnecessary pressure on the player to come in and play well, and well, not just play well, but to win the whole event that you're going to.
I'm so confused by it. It just seems like they were doing well. Then they announced while someone's still in the team, they take someone else, but they're not really taking him. They still have Mikalele, if I understand correctly. They still have him. Like, they haven't released him.
Technically, they seem to.
It's just warming their bench now. I don't understand. It just seems so, like you said, it puts so much pressure on the players. I completely understand that. But from the outside too, I mean, how do you support a team that just seems like they're screwing over their own players?
Fanboyism probably helps. That's a good start.
Also, they have a great name. Can we talk about that? They have a great name.
We can't talk about that. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and also just the jump from Jalli to Allu. I mean, it's not a big difference. They fill the same role. In fact, they are supposed to fill the same role. Allu and Delpan, the other player tried out, were both snipers who brought in to be what Jalli was. So is there a big gap there? I don't think so. I mean, Jalli, he's called a more flashy player. Allu's called a more consistent player, but I think those become buzzwords at a certain point. Like the line there is not that great. So what are they really looking for that they didn't have before? It's not a performance issue. They said it's not an attitude issue. So what needed to be changed? What does Allu bring us differently? And if Allu does bring something different you wanted, why can't you just commit to him and have him be a part of your team and really make this work rather than making it a temporary thing, making it publicly known as a temporary thing? Why not just keep it temporary within the team?
Right. Why I don't
say it's
understand
temporary out loud?
PR move here at all.
It's difficult to understand, Meg.
Do you think that a team owes us that explanation, or do you think it's their prerogative and they can do whatever they want with their players?
Well, it's not even about owing people the explanation. It's about the player needing the explanation. It's about the player feeling good about it. Again, we're talking about the team's results. You seem to be harming your own team's chances for success by approaching it this way. That's what's so difficult to understand about it for me.
Do you think, have we heard anything from Mikalele or Allu? Allu. I know it's not how you say it, but I really like to say it like that.
I'm sure Allu's going to be a team player until he has reason not to be. Jalli has publicly asked for confidence from NiP to say, hey, this wasn't the attitude problem, right? Just, so we can clear that up.
That's been a problem in the past for him.
It has been, yeah, and it does not seem to be the case here.
Right.
From everything we know, it's not the case here. So it's a big mystery, and again, it's a case of an organization that, at least in Counter-Strike, has been kind of a model of consistency before, doing some really weird shit, and that seems to just go against their own chances for success.
It's crazy. This is the craziest story this week, for sure. All right, so we'll move on to Dota 2, and a team by the name of Union Gaming that was recently disciplined by the organizers behind the Canada Cup competition for cheating, and the team has specifically been accused of stream sniping and swapping out players mid-match. This one is also crazy.
Yeah, you think it seems a little extreme, like to swap players out in the middle of a match. So you pause and have someone disconnect, like, oh, they got a connection issue, they got to bring in someone else, and yeah, whoops, our bad, You look on the stream to see what the other team's doing, like kind of strategize in the middle of the game, like calling timeout and then cheating during the timeout.
Hold on, my stream is backed up. I
gotta see what you guys are doing.
The delay is too long.
we gotta spy on you for a second. Yeah, please give us a chance to catch up with a stream delay so we can cheat on you properly.
Weird.
Yeah, it's bad. It's really stupid as well. They've also been disciplined now by MLG's Dota 2 league that they're involved with, so this is going to be a wide-ranging discipline for them, and they should be. This is ridiculous, this kind of thing, but stream sniping is a problem. It's a legitimate thing. That's why players in Hearthstone, for example, have long delays in their broadcasts. They should at least, not all of them do, in competitive play, because it's easy to just look on someone's stream and be like, hey, they're doing this.
Yeah. It's easy to sit with a frame behind you, too, that reflects what you're looking at.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's also a problem. It's just, some of these players, it's not that hard, I don't think, to cheat and get away with it.
Yeah.
I hate to say that, like, to let the competitive players out there know, like, hey, guys, you can probably get away with a lot of this shit if you just take some caution, like, some very minor precautions.
Don't sit around reflective surfaces.
Don't have a mirror behind you that shows what you're doing, like, shows what you're cheating, like, in front of you. Like, don't so obviously pause the game and then bring someone else in while you're checking the other team's strategy. It's just,
So strange. So what's the disciplinary action here that they got?
Tell them to fuck off for quite some time. That's basically it.
That's it. Excuse me? Fuck off for quite some time. Okay, thank you.
That's more or less what happens. And when this happens, you're not going to be allowed to play pretty much anywhere else. This is going to harm your reputation for a while, hopefully at least. But then again, players get caught for match fixing, and then they get brought back in some months later, and people forget about it. And it's like, hey, welcome back to the fold. You've done your time.
Right.
So there's different treatments for different types of cheating. I'm not sure what this is going to be. But these guys are not top players. I think, unfortunately, the bigger name you have, the more chance you have to come back in the future and be a player again. That's not really how it should work, but that's how it does work. So these guys are not a big enough team, really, to probably get a second chance, unless they kind of slip in under the cracks and crevices of the competitive world.
The crevices.
Gotta get some alliteration going. By the way, did you see that Dead or Alive story? I think you covered that thing.
I did. No sexy costumes.
No sexy costumes. In theory, that's a soft ban.
Right. It's a soft ban. You get to decide whether or not you want to enforce it.
It's a suggested ban. We would like to suggest that you not have your players pick a bunch of sexy costumes like bikinis and stuff during fighting game tournaments in the future for this particular game, Dead or Alive. That's an interesting
I also
decision.
liked that they said, look, it's a soft ban. You can choose if you organize a tournament, but we highly suggest, in all caps, that you not do it for top 8.
Yeah, it's a soft ban with capital S.
It's a double soft ban. I felt like there were a lot of boob jokes to be made in this story, and I really enjoyed it.
It's a soft ban on soft things.
Boobs are soft. You got it. You nailed it.
Yeah, I thought so. Unless they're fake, and a lot of these look like they might be in this game. Let me tell
jiggle
you.
physics are really good in Dead or Alive.
Are they good? Is that the word you used?
They're
effective.
Who doesn't do that?
They're effective. I don't know if good's really the word for that.
I just really liked, you know what, and I honestly agreed with, some people were saying, like, this is our game. Why are we ashamed of it? Like, let's embrace what our game is. Let's not hide what it is or pretend it's something it's not. Let's embrace our game, and I like that.
It's hard to hide that when you have just, like, people's body parts jiggling around in the middle of a match. I mean,
the physics do not allow you to hide that.
If you're wearing a bikini or a cat suit, it kind of comes across either way.
Right.
So, hey, more power to you. If you want to soft ban all the bikinis and cat girl outfits in the world, go for it. If you want to wear them, then go for that too. Just, have fun.
Right.
Have a good time.
You agree with it.
In all your various ways of dressing. I agree with every side of the issue.
I agree with everyone.
Yes, exactly.
Jared for president, 2016.
That's how it starts.
Guys,
Here on the leaderboard.
That's it for the leaderboard. We'll see you guys next week. GG, everyone.